This pressure washer has been sitting under somebody's deck for 11 years. Hopefully it was stored without any water sitting in the pump. Otherwise that water will freeze and ruin the pump. Does have some oil in it. Engine's not froze up. And the gas tank's empty, which I'm happy to see, because hopefully the carburetor's not all gummed up with old gas. So let's clean it up and see if we can get it going. She's looking good. Now let's see if we can get it running good. All right, checking this out a little further. It looks like he busted the hose and taped it up. So this might need a new hose, which isn't good, but it was free. Oh, and I'm looking down here. There's a gasket for the water hookup, but I don't see a filter on there. That's great that there's a gasket here. It'll keep it from leaking, but I don't know if you can see that. Nothing there. And a lot of hard water deposits in there. So you never want to run a pressure washer without a water filter on there, because there's little debris in your water that'll get in the pump and ruin your pump. So I'm going to grab one, put that in there, and we'll see if it'll run. You never want to run a pressure washer without the water on. It'll burn up the pump real quick. I stole a filter off another pump that I have. That's what they look like. And that's the way that they should go on, just like that. And let's flip it around. I want to at least check the air filter, which is right under here. Doesn't look too bad at all. We checked the oil. There is no gas in it. I'm concerned about the carburetor, unless he ran it out and didn't run it after that. But let's go ahead, hook up some water, and see if it'll start and run. Now, of course, the oil is old, and if this runs and everything's okay, I'll change the oil. But I don't want to waste any money on anything until I know it's worth putting money into it. Okay, I turned the water on, and I always run it through the gun so it gets through the pump. Just pull the trigger, assuming it's not clogged. And a lot of times these tips will clog. So you get a little mud in there or whatever. Since there was no filter in there and it sat underneath a deck, maybe mud daubers or mud got in there and the water's not flowing through. So you don't want to start it dry like that and burn up the pump. I'm going to work my way back. I'm going to disconnect it here, see if we got water coming through. We got nothing. You see how that's gummed up in there? That's not a good sign. Now I've disconnected the outlet that goes to the wand, and I'm going to turn the water back on and see if we're getting water coming out. And if we are, then the problem is in this hose. Turn the water on. Oh yeah. Yeah, we're getting water through there. So we got a clogged hose. Our pressure line's clogged.
That's not good.
And you could see how the tip is. So I'm going to go ahead and keep working on it. I'm not going to mess with this, especially because the hose is already damaged. I found another one on Amazon for 20 bucks or 25 bucks. So if I can get it running, pushing pressure out there, I'll either try to get this hose to work or I'll have to get a new one if it's leaking anyways. And my gut says the carburetor's all clogged up. I'm going to get some starting fluid and just hit that carburetor. And if it'll start, that tells me the gas isn't getting to the carburetor.
You better check and see if that engine has spark.
I can smell fuel, and you can see fuel on there. That's a good sign. And to check for spark, we got to touch the base to metal. Of course, you want to hold on to the rubber boot, but we're looking for a spark right in there. Oh yeah, I see spark. Oh yeah. It has good spark. I'm going to clean up this plug. So I smelled fuel on here and spark. Maybe it's just old fuel that was in the carburetor. That's 10 years old. Some sitting in the bowl still. And I need to run that through. And then it'll fire. And it could be a little water in there too. Okay, I got her cleaned up. I'm going to check the gap real quick for 30 thousandths. And we're at 32, which is fine. I'm going to shoot a little starting fluid in there. That'll help fire that right up. And while I've got it up here on the work area, I'm going to go ahead and empty the carburetor, drop the bowl, get out of there what's in there, and get some fresh gas going in there. The tank looked empty, but that bowl could have had something in it. And of course, at this time of the year, you'll get condensation and water in there, and then it won't want to run. That's not good. That choke butterfly is stuck. Whew. Mercy. That's what happens when you let fuel sit in there. It gets all gummed up. I can barely move this. I'm going to drop the bowl here. No fuel's coming out. You know what? I'm just going to take the carburetor off and clean this up. I'm going to take the fuel line off, put a T in there. Hopefully that'll stop the gas. And this line is so stiff, I kind of hate to pinch it off. It'll probably break. And I want to disconnect the choke linkage here. Just unscrewing this here. I'll leave that with the engine. There we go. That can stay right there. Can tip this. Pull that off. There's our carburetor. And that linkage just goes in there. The spring stayed attached. You can see how stiff this is. I can barely move it. Let's take it over the workbench, clean it up. Just takes a minute. All right, I want to drain the bowl first. It doesn't look bad. Pull the float off. And there's our needle. Looks clean. Might mainly be this choke, this sticky choke. It's already freeing up here. It's my carburetor cleaner. Oh, you can see how gummy that is there. Hit the ports. Get the throttle here. So that's nice and free. That's good. That butterfly's moving nice. So fuel comes in here. Comes out right there. That's where the needle is here. I'm going to stick a wire down in there just to make sure that's open and clean. There we go. Very good. Good, good, good. Good, nice and clear. Get the jet here. It's coming out over here. We already shot in there. That one comes out right here. I think that'll take care of it. That's nice and free. Good. Drop the needle back in there. And the pin for the float. Good. You want to make sure that your needle doesn't come disconnected from the float there. That's what regulates your fuel. I think this was our main problem right here. That's all freed up. And that main jet comes right through there, and you can see it coming up there, that copper right down in there. And we stuck this all the way through, so we're good. One last thing, you want to make sure that this is open here, through here, and down through here. A lot of times with bad fuel in, this can get gummed up here, and your engine won't run right. And you can see this was gummed up. That's what that yellowish color is. You just want to snug that down, not too tight. Let's put it back on.
You made quick work of that.
That linkage goes back in there. Just tip the carburetor. Slide that in. Okay, this little nub here goes in that U shape right there to operate the choke. So I'll set that in and then just put that screw in there. I'll just snug that down. That's it. Hose clamp back on. That's better. Couldn't even move it before.
That looks much better.
Let's hook the water back up and see if it'll run. All right, we got the water back on, and it is pushing through the pump. We got gas, we got oil, we got spark. Hopefully it'll fire up. That's the off position, there's on. She's up and running. If I can put it back together, see if I can free up that hose, otherwise I'll have to order another one. We'll put the filter base back on. Don't forget your vent. These tabs just go in these 3 tabs there, holes there. Just tip that up. Slide her in, change your filter if it's dirty, and the cover. Good. I'm going to change the oil since it's running. Well, I'm going to test it first, and then I can go with oil change. And you can see how the hard water deposits can gum these up. I can't blow through here, so it's clogged. There must have been water in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour a little vinegar, distilled vinegar in there, and see if that'll free that up, and maybe blow some compressed air through it then. This vinegar really takes care of hard water deposits. I got some string trimmer line. It's not as stiff, but it's thinner. That's running free so far. Well, that's good. Let me run it through the other end. Might have just been clogged out here at the ends. Oh yeah. Might have been right there. I might be free now. Oh yeah. Watch this. There we go. Now let's hook it all up and see what happens. Now let's turn the water on, see if it comes through. Oh yeah! Yeehaw! Get the air out. And 90% of the time I use a white tip. It doesn't eat away too much. The black is for the soap, and then yellow and red get more and more aggressive. Rarely, if ever, use these. You use these on concrete and it's going to take the cream off the top and you're going to see stones coming through. You got to be real careful with these too. To point out, when you're using a pressure washer, never leave it unused running for more than a minute. This one says a little longer because it's got a pressure relief valve when it gets too hot, but I wouldn't trust that. So make sure you got cool water running through it so you don't burn up your pump. Now all I got to do is change the oil on this. That hose isn't leaking at all. I don't know if the previous owner put that on there so it didn't scrape something. To change the oil on this, you've got to just take the fill cap off, tip it on its side, drain it, set it back up, and I'm going to put straight 30 weight. It doesn't get too cold here, and I won't use it in winter. Straight 30 weight's good from like 50 degrees up to almost 100 degrees. Now a quick oil change. What happened to the good old days when there was a drain plug on the bottom? You want to just put it on its side. If you tip it all the way over, like I did, you won't get it all out. Oh my. Minnie D says it's time for dinner. I'll go feed her quick and come back and fill this up. Minnie's tummy's full, and this should be drained. Well, not too much of a mess. That looks about perfect. Now, if your pressure washer's been sitting, you might run into everything that I ran into on this. Of course, you need that water filter. Critically important. Otherwise, you're going to ruin your pump. We cleared the pressure line, which was clogged up. The carburetor was all gummed up from old gas. Took the carburetor off, cleaned it, and freed up the linkage for the choke, which I think was keeping it from starting, and maybe the float was stuck. Got fresh gas in it, changed the oil. I always like, when I turn the water on first, run water through the pump. Make sure you got water running through the pump. And it relieves pressure, so it's easier to pull. Turn it to on. Pressure washer's ready to go to work. If this video was a help to you, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. And I look forward to helping you with other projects